Welcome to the Home Stagers and Designers on Fire podcast, where we help you attract more ideal clients, up-level your business, make more money, and still have a smokin' hot life. Hosted by best-selling author, coach, and speaker Marianne Cherico, this podcast focuses on business and mindset strategies that enable you to create a life and business by design. Now, let's get fired up.
Hey there. Imagine running a home staging business where you charge what you're worth, work with great clients, and feel confident about the direction of your business. I'm Marianne Cherico, the home stagers coach, and that's exactly what I help my home stagers create. And because I've owned a successful home staging business since 2005, I deeply understand the realities of running a home staging business. What I've discovered over the years is that success in this industry isn't just about talent or hard work. It's about who you become as a business owner. And that's exactly why coaching is so powerful. And because I'm a trained coach, I focus on both mindset and business strategies needed to grow a successful staging business. What I do with my clients goes far beyond simply giving business advice. We also focus on the inner foundation that makes growth possible. Because the truth is, your business can only grow to the level that you're willing to grow personally. You need to grow into the business owner who leads a successful business. When that inner shift happens, everything else begins to change. For my clients, they start charging what they're worth, often doubling their income within a short amount of time. They stop saying yes to clients who drain their energy. They begin making decisions from confidence rather than fear. And their businesses become not only more profitable, but also way more enjoyable to run. When people ask how I define coaching, I like to say this: coaching is a powerful partnership that supports you in becoming the best version of yourself, the one your next level staging business requires. It helps you see what you can't see on your own, shift the patterns that are holding you back, and step into someone who runs your business with clarity and confidence. So if you're ready to invest in you, if you're ready for more confidence, more profitability, more consistency, and a business that truly supports your best life, I'd love to invite you to schedule a discovery session with me. In that session, we'll talk about where you are in your business, where you want to go, and whether one of my coaching programs is a good fit for you. To sign up for one of these sessions, you can click the link in the show notes or go to my website, www.coachingbymarianne.com. And Marianne is Marianne. Kristen and Amy are co-founders of Salt and Pine, a boutique staging company located in Rhode Island. Kristen serves as a lead designer as well as chief financial officer. She runs the company's LTK page as well as sharing in all social media marketing. She also sources inventory and she takes care of day-to-day operations of the business. Amy is a lead designer and runs the website and email marketing. She shares in all social media marketing, sourcing inventory, and day-to-day operations of the business. Amy earned the RISA approved instructor designation in 2023, and she's the only approved instructor in the state of Rhode Island. Salt and Pine has been featured in publications such as Apartment Therapy, Architectural Digest, as well as on HGTV. And I am delighted to introduce you to Kristen Brown and Amy Keely.
Hi, Marianne. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you guys here. We're neighbors, kind of. I'm in Massachusetts.
That's where we're actually from originally.
Yeah.
Oh, where?
Right outside Worcester. We grew up in Holden, Massachusetts.
Oh my gosh. I'm a Foxborough girl, so yeah, home of the Patriots. Woo!
Yep.
Although right now we have a lot of traffic due to the soccer game at the stadium, and I live kind of close, so I'm not loving that. But anyways, yeah, Rhode Island is great. It's like a half an hour from me, and I've done some stuff in Rhode Island as well. It's a beautiful coastal state.
Yes, it's a small little state. We often get asked, where do you stage in Rhode Island? And our answer is always the whole thing.
It's not like California, right?
Right.
There's some beautiful coastal towns, and Providence is great. Like Rhode Island really has a lot to offer.
It does.
And you guys have a lot to offer Rhode Island.
We try.
So let's talk about the fact that you guys coin yourself as a boutique staging company, which I love. Can you tell the listeners what that means and why you decided to go boutique?
I think it kind of evolved over time. And when we started this business, I don't think we really knew what we wanted. And it just kind of evolved as we were working in it. And we knew, I mean, running a huge operation was not what we wanted. And we were really enjoying really curating every stage to our brand is really what it evolved into. And boutique just seemed to be the right fit for us.
Well, and when we started, for the first 6 years, it was literally just Kristen and I doing everything. We partnered with outside movers after 2 years, a year and a half maybe. But all of the design, the staging, the de-staging, buying inventory, the website, social media, everything. It was just Kristen and I. And we're both moms, and we wanted something sustainable, and we knew we couldn't do high volume because we never wanted to have a lot of other people in our company. We always wanted to make sure that Salt and Pine stayed Salt and Pine, and that's Kristen and I.
One of the things that a lot of my coaching clients struggle with is they're competing with the high volume stagers, the ones that kick it out, like kind of the McDonald's versus Capital Grille, right? Capital Grille in this area, I don't know if it's all over the country in Canada, but it's a very exclusive restaurant. It's expensive. It's like top notch. Whereas McDonald's is different. And then there's some, what was that?
And it's delicious.
And it's delicious. And it's delicious. It is delicious. And then there's, stuff in between, right? Restaurants in between. And I think that sometimes stagers try to compete on price with the high volume staging companies, and that's a race to the bottom. Can you tell the listeners how you decided to price to be profitable and still kind of, quote, compete with those high volume staging companies?
So, I mean, I wish when we had started out that we had been thinking really about pricing for our worth, but we did what so many other people do, and we would price so low. We would negotiate, let agents negotiate, and we were staging for like nothing. And as we were trying to grow this business, we both started part-time and we were working other jobs full-time. And we wanted to leave those jobs. And finally we were just
had to make money.
You can never do this if we're not making money. That's right around the time when we rebranded. We originally were named something else, not Salt and Pine. And we decided we really wanted to go all in. We had really been exploring more design and like researching and following and studying designers out there who inspired us. And I think we started to come into a look that was our own. And we started investing in quality inventory, not just panic buying and going out and buying whatever was available to put a sofa in a house. We started really being intentional, thinking about the designs in every home that we were doing. And it started resonating with buyers, and agents also started noticing that. They started going into our homes and recognizing that it was Salt and Pine.
I think our pricing organically evolved with this whole mindset because we were creating our worth by doing that, by creating a recognizable brand, elevating our inventory, and it all just correlated with increased prices. And then once you set that bar and you start to get jobs at that price, people could come back and not like our price or say we were not the least expensive. And we were like, we know. And if it's not the right fit for you, it's not the right fit for you. And it was easier to let a job go than to take 3 low-paying jobs and stress.
We also started educating, I think, in our conversations with agents about what goes into pricing, because there's your inventory, there's your time, there's your warehouse, there's, the overhead of having a warehouse, there's your truck,
the movers, everything. I mean, the marketing, every little piece of your company, your heating bill.
Right.
Yeah. 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 A lot of my coaching clients, when they come to me, they don't realize that you have to amortize what you've already invested in inventory into your pricing. And you also have to amortize your overhead by the amounts of jobs that you're doing that month. And so I think a lot of stagers, they're creative and talented and they work so hard and they can't understand why they're not gaining traction. And they're working so hard for so little because they love the business, but it's a road to burnout and resentment. And I think that pricing is so important. And to your point, an empowered mindset sometimes doesn't come at the beginning. This is something I like to work with coaching clients on, curating that mindset at the beginning, because I think at the beginning we hustle for our worthiness. We say, I got to get that job by being the lowest price. And we're not owning our value. And people can sniff that right out. And people don't always choose the cheapest. They choose the one that's going to get them what they want. So, how do you guys convey that other than through your brand, which is very compelling and unique and maybe not is for everybody, which is something that is okay because you guys have chosen to pick a unique style. And I think that that's a very brave, bold, and smart marketing decision on your part. I think that having a signature style in staging is a lot different than when I started in 2005 and everybody had to be vanilla. And then there was the gray and white rooms, and you'd feel bad if you weren't that. I coach a stager out in California she's like just so fun. And her whole brand is fun in the bright teals and the bright orange colors. And her marketing is fun and her colors are much more bold, right? But that works for her, not only for her area, but the clients that want to work with her resonate with that. And I think it's like if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody. And you guys get that on a deep level. And I don't think a lot of people do. They want to be like everybody else. But I think it's good to stand out. What are your thoughts on all that?
I think
target agents who, because it's a partnership, right? And so the agents that we work with, like their brand is part of, like our brand is part of their brand, right? Like their listings reflect this image when we work together consistently. And I think our marketing, we really targeted finding those agents. And it was honestly through Instagram where a lot of those agents are who had the same mindset as us, whose brands aligned, whose the way that they work with their clients and the way that they partner with us.
And I think through very thoughtful design, you can have your signature brand and style, but we can still tailor it to different styles of homes. So we can make it fit into a different style home, but people still walk in and say, we know this was salt and pine. So that's a huge compliment. But I think that also takes thoughtful design. So we also couldn't churn out 20 of those a week.
Right. We're really intentional with how we organize our schedule. For the longest time, we would only do 2 stages a week, and it would be Tuesday and Thursday would be our install days. Monday, we would plan and pull for Tuesday, and Wednesday, we would plan and pull for Thursday. And Friday was sort of like a catch up, de-stage, whatever needed to be done day. We're slowly adding in because we now have a few employees. And so we now have one other stager with us. So now we'll do 3 a week, but we're still really intentional. Like we're not a company that goes in the morning of the stage and pulls what we're bringing to the stage. Like everything is still planned out ahead of time in the warehouse. So that also we take into account with our pricing.
I love that you guys talk about the fact that you can take your signature style and kind of transfer it to that particular buyer demographic of the house. Because I know, like I've done houses in Rhode Island, and you might be doing a coastal home, or you might be doing someplace in Rehoboth in Massachusetts, which is more rural. And I used to work with a big construction company out there. and we would have to change the staging for that buyer demographic. So I love that you acknowledge that as well. And there is a path to doing both, which is the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what also keeps it fun, right? And
Yeah.
challenging. Because you don't want to do the same thing over and over again. So
Yeah.
that keeps our design minds fresh and meeting what each home needs.
How did you both get on the same page with that?
I think being twins probably helps. Like, I feel like we share a brain. We have our differences, which I think is what makes our design what it is. But
I think
kind
we've
of
been
like
on
the
the
same
same
person.
path our whole same page our whole life.
I love it. I love it. So where does most of your business come from? You said Instagram. Are you finding that you're getting higher end real estate agents? I mean, I found when I was doing more, I just do consults now and my coaching, but I found that the agents that still hire me for consults and referred me for all kinds of jobs were the seasoned, competitive. They wanted to be top dog. Those were my, kind of avatar. What are you finding for the types of agents? And maybe things have evolved since when I was doing it 1,000 years ago.
I think we work with a lot of seasoned agents who have been in the business for a long time. We work with a lot of the top agents in Rhode Island. Many of the agents we work with, I mean, we do multiple jobs a month for. So we have a lot of those repeat clients. But I think we're also seeing an uptick in newer agents who recognize the value in staging, and maybe because sometimes they might know we work with the top agents, or they know what they want their business to look like and they are bringing us on early.
Mm-hmm. Or they attended a class.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were interested and they reached out, and it might take a couple of times before we actually work together, but they're like, we're starting to get to know them, and they're trying to get clients on board and navigating partnering with us.
I think the seasoned agents, they have the statistics behind it, and we're in their pitch. Like, if you work with, my stagers are going to do this, and it's just all up front right from the beginning before they even work with the client. That is said. So I think it's also us, especially in the class, it's helping the agents figure out how to present this to your clients.
Which is so good, because I find that the agents don't know how to use that messaging so that it benefits them. And that's what it's all about, right? You have to know that, like, I teach have a course. It's not the same one that you guys do, but it's all about the benefits of working with, a stager. My coaching clients present it, to winning listings, to elevating your brand, to all of that. So the agents have to understand deeply how it helps them. And then they have to be able to convey clearly how it benefits their sellers, so it makes them look good, because agents need to stand apart. The seasoned agents get that. The ones that, not all seasoned agents get that. Let me take that back. Some of them are dinosaurs. In all respect, and they don't think they have to do anything. But the smart, savvy, forward-thinking leaders in the real estate world, the ones who, want their signs peppered everywhere, they get that they have to do things that set them apart. And one of the things that I tell them to do is offer my consult as a tipping point to win the listing. But I don't think that agents should have to, and I know it happens in areas in Massachusetts that there's an expectation that agents pay for more of the staging. What are you finding? And are your agents paying for the staging? Or I know you work with either Titus or Notable. What are you finding? You work with Notable. I interviewed Max Cool, by the way, on my podcast.
You did?
And yeah. So you guys happy with that? Happy with working with Notable?
We are. Honestly, like, it hasn't really.
Not a lot of people have used it yet. So we've had a couple homeowners, which kind of surprised us.
Me too.
But the ones who have used it, it's been easy and seamless.
The majority of our clients who are paying are the homeowners. The majority pay. It's not usually the agents.
Right.
We have a few who might, but I would say 95%, it's the homeowners who pay for staging.
And how are the agents articulating the importance of doing that? And is it usually vacant homes or occupieds that you do?
We do
Vacant.
mostly vacant.
I think a lot of our agents are shifting the narrative to discussing staging as marketing, that it's part of their marketing tool for the home, and that presentation of the home, and it's like their biggest asset, their house. And if we want to sell it and we want to get the most money possible, we need to market it the best way possible. And in order to do that, the house needs to photograph and show perfectly.
Yeah. And the other thing is something that I tell my clients to remember when they're talking to agents is that their listings are their brand. And when a seller, potential seller, goes online to see if what their house is going to be worth on the market, because they're going to tool around just to see what their house is going to be worth, what's the competition, blah, blah, blah. They're going to notice that some of the agents' listings look so much better, and they're going to want that for their house. And that's what I tell these agents that don't think about that. It's very short-sighted.
Yes, our brand is their brand. Like if this
Right.
is what they want their listings to, show like, they work with us.
I love it. Let's talk about on your website, you have a curated page of your design aesthetic, and it's very much salt and pine, and it's to sell pieces of furniture. Can you talk
Mhm.
about the behind the scenes of that in case one of the listeners is thinking of doing something like that? Why did you do it? How did people order things through the page, stuff like that?
So it's a relatively new endeavor for us, and it was sort of like a natural progression. We get asked fairly frequently for, people who are buying the home that we stage to purchase the furniture in the home. Um, so we've had that happen. And then we've recently had people who were touring homes. And in Rhode Island, a lot of people buy second homes, especially in
Hmm.
Newport.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
would see the home that we staged, and whether or not they bought that home or another home, they would reach out to us if we would furnish their second home. So all of these things were like, people really like our style. They would like message us and be like, where did you get that? And so we're like, well, maybe we should add this in as another revenue stream. So it's pretty new. We've built the page, we've figured out how we're going to do it. We haven't like fully got it really up and running. We have to do like a better marketing push and figure that out, but we're also in our stages, right, going to be leaving like QR codes. So, you like what you see, they can scan it, it'll take them right there, they can buy that chair.
I freaking love that. And how do you get around the fact that a lot of these, like, what if they want a one-off chair? Is it, certain accounts you can only you have to buy in volume. How do you get around that?
So the what we have on there through our vendors, we don't have that limitation. So we could order one chair if we want. We have some really great vendors that
We
have
intentionally thought about
Right.
that.
So we made
Mm.
sure it's not a volume-based order that we had to do, and that we can just order one, have it shipped to our warehouse, and then our guys will actually deliver it to the house for the person.
That was my next question. So you don't have to do like, this is maybe naive, but from what I understand about the design world is the whole receiver thing. So you don't have to do that, that you ship it to your warehouse, which totally makes sense. And then your guys deliver it. I love it. I love it. So you have to include that fee for paying your movers, or are they employees?
So there are employees now. So
Okay.
yep. So we have that has been
A shift.
a huge shift. It hasn't even been a year yet since
Right.
we've even had one employee, and now we have four and a half.
4.5. Yeah, 4.5.
So
So
tell me about that. I'd love to hear. I know the listeners would love to hear. Who did you add? What kinds of roles do they play? Are they W-2, or, are they employees or contractors? How do you?
so everyone is employees. we started with the title we gave her was warehouse coordinator, because to hire, it was really scary. And we were like, what
do we really need? What is going to
give us more time to do more stages, bring in more revenue? And we were like, we need someone here. This is a mess. Our warehouse, we need systems in place. Our inventory system wasn't even done.
Like, I was slowly.
You and a lot of people, don't be ashamed. Trust me. And I can't tell you.
Years in, and we had an inventory system that was not used.
No, I had like 20 things in stage 4. And we wanted somebody to D stage. We're like, if we don't have to go to a D stage, so much time.
There's no reason for you to go to a D stage. It's like, you're getting your hourly fee, which is a lot more than what you're going to pay somebody. And you're doing a job, maybe a $25, $30 an hour job for, when you could be leveraging your time, which is more valuable, which is billed out at a much higher rate, right?
Right. So that was our first hire. So we brought in Marissa, and I don't know how we functioned without her, but she got stage 4 set up.
Right. She got everything in there. She organized our warehouse. She added systems into our warehouse. All the D stages. So she was our first hire, and it really changed our world to be able to give up some things.
She was also, we could split sometimes. Like, she would also, when we needed her to be like a staging assistant, she would come with me on a stage and be like another hand on the stage. And Krsten could do admin stuff
or go preview
something.
We could separate from each other.
Yeah.
So
that's great. You probably want to sometimes, right?
Probably, although I kind of miss.
I know,
because now we don't really stage with each other much anymore. We're like on projects separately, and she'll give me an address, and I'm like, "What is that?" I'm like, "We staged that? I don't even know because I've never been there." Right. And sometimes I miss like doing it together. But anyway, it's good.
And then our next step was, we were too busy for the company we partnered with for movers. So they were a growing company, we were a growing company, and they couldn't continue to grow their company and meet our needs. So it got to the time where we had to separate, and we were like, we just need to bring it in-house. We know we need to just be able to book a job whenever we need to. So then it was bring the movers in-house, which that has been the most difficult.
Yes.
Getting a team together. So that has been the hardest for us, is to find a team that
is reliable.
Yeah, reliable.
And I think it was hard too, because, we were not looking to hire 40 hours a week for our movers.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's hard if people want, full time and stuff like that. So we cycled through a few combinations of guys. But we have 2 guys right now. One of them, he's like our driver and sort of like in charge of everything. And he has really stepped up, and he is amazing. And the 2 of them together are just great. And then we have like a third who kind of gets called in, like if somebody can't come to work that day, or if we need 3 guys for a job, he's kind of just like a fill-in.
So
great.
A lot of people struggle with the hiring thing. And sometimes you have to kiss a few frogs, right?
We definitely did.
I've fired a few people.
That was new too.
Which is not fun. I mean, nobody wants to do that, but what do they say? Hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to a stager that's listening, that's thinking of building a team, especially with movers? What would you recommend they do? Like, how would you interview them? What would you look for? What have you learned through that process?
I think trainability and accountability. I think you have to, and it's hard if it's not a full-time job, to find someone who's going to be invested in your company. And I think that's what we were missing in the ones who didn't stay with us is that they weren't invested in our company, whereas now we have guys who are willing to do what needs to be done. He's so funny. Will is our head guy, and whenever I'm like, do you think you could do that, Will, or can we get this done? And he's always like, where there's a will, there's a way.
And it's so
and like he just whatever.
You have to do an Instagram post on that. Like, that would be such a great Instagram post to have Will saying it, and like, here's our team, and have Will saying, "Hi, I'm Will." Where there's a Will, that would be such a good post.
If we need something built or moved or brought down to one of our design installs, or like he gets it done, and he's always like, don't worry about it, no problem.
And he's very communicative. Like, he lets us know ahead of time, and if anything coming up, and he really, when we hired him, he was sort of like our third mover, and he was super quiet, and like all I ever heard from him was kind of like, okay. And when we were kind of cycling through the other two guys, we posted and we were looking for more of a lead guy. And he came to us and he's like, I saw this posting. Isn't this what I'm doing? And we kind of sat down and we said, no, we're looking for more. We really want someone. And he was like, I want to do it. I can do it. And we were like, okay, let's do like a 30-day trial and let's see how it goes. And he stepped up. It was amazing.
So I'm thinking, in an interview process, questions that you could even ask to see how somebody would handle situations. Like, you could probably tell a lot. I'm just thinking for stagers who are thinking of hiring a team member, because that kind of I can do it attitude as opposed to the, oh, I can't, blah, 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 complaining, but that positive attitude where, I'll try to make it work, where he took the initiative to come to you guys to ask for that, which was so great. And the fact that I'm sure there's questions in an interview process that you could ask, like, how would you handle this certain situation, and see how they respond to that, to tell a lot about a person. I'm sure there's, a lot. I haven't had to hire a big team in my career. Like, I have a VA and a bookkeeper, and my husband used to help me with the staging, and then we'd work with rental furniture. So I didn't have to lead a team in the same way, and I didn't have to hire in the same way. My VA was a referral and my bookkeeper was a referral, and it just worked out. But especially with movers, I think they're so integral.
And I
like,
think
you can't do much without a mover.
No. And setting the expectation, like, let's do it. A lot of places have like a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Like, let's do a 30-day, see how you work, see what they're doing, give them other tasks to see how they respond to it.
And when we always started with first a video interview, so we could sort of see them. We'd ask like the initial questions, and that in itself told us, because we had so many no-shows when we were trying to conduct interviews as a video. People just would not show up.
Oh, I've had it with coaching clients that, sign up for a discovery session. And to me, it's the most unprofessional thing that you can do is ghost somebody like that. And I'm like, that's okay. It's fine, but it tells me a lot. And as far as the video thing, I've been using that on my dating sites. Let's meet for a video first. In fact, I had one last night at 11 o'clock, and I decided, good guy, but not for me. So you know what? The video thing works in all different kinds of ways.
It really does. It's a good first step. And then if we had a good conversation, then we would have them either in for an in-person or have them come on a working interview. We'd pay them for the day, but we'd have them come join the team and then see how they fit in.
Yeah, because that's another big thing with building a team that I've seen a lot with my coaching clients as well, where one team member doesn't work well with the other one, or there's jealousy, or one's kind of always ratting the other one out. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's like having kids.
Yes.
Right? So you want people that play well together and have the same vision and I think that that's sometimes you can train people on skills, but you can't train them on their outlook on life, the way they play in a team, stuff like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. And it's new to us as,
How to be a
employers. Like
boss.
we're learning how to be a boss and like what it takes to be a good boss. And we try to, like divide it up. Like Kristen's in charge of payroll and I'm HR. So they're supposed to come to me if there's anything, wrong, or if we have to address anything, I do it. If we have to fire anyone, I do it. But we're trying to figure out how.
Did you pick the short straw?
I didn't want to do the money.
I don't even think she's logged into our payroll. I don't even think she knew how to do that. So she's like,
I guess the money guitar. I think I'm pretty good at like being gentle but firm. I used to be a teacher, so I feel like I can sort of do that role. But we try to figure out like little things that I think our employees appreciate. Like we had a dresser come for a design job that was damaged a little bit on the leg. So we had like a replacement come, but we still have the damaged dresser. So we offered it up to anyone on the team. Does anyone want this? So Will's taking it, and he doesn't have a way to get it to his house. So we're like, take the truck. So like tomorrow he's coming. He's gonna put it in the truck and bring the truck. And Marissa for Christmas got a piano for her daughter, and they had no way to get the piano. And we're like, take the truck. This working at Salt and Pine, like we're a family, and those little things I think make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. I think people feel appreciated, and that makes a huge difference, and that makes them want to do more. It's this whole universal law of reciprocity. If somebody does something nice for me, I want to do 10 more things nice for them, because it's this universal law. And when you treat employees that way, it comes back. Last question. What would you recommend to, and I'll have each of you answer this because you may have different ideas. What would you recommend to a home stager who wants to go more boutique? They're competing against the churn them out staging companies who can price less. They can price more effectively. Maybe they're using older furniture. They're doing it on volume instead of really paying attention to each stage in a different way. What would you recommend to that stager that wants to be more boutique about their positioning in the market and how to effectively convey their value so that they get paid the prices that they need to in order to have a profitable business?
I think in my mind, two things stand out that I think they should really think about. One is, what do you have to offer that will make you stand out? Because you have to have that in order. And whether it's like the client you said who is very colorful and uses bright colors, and that is her thing, which is not our thing. We found our thing that really resonated with us and our area and buyers. So you have to know what that is that you can offer that's different. And I think you also have to look at your whole business, your level of inventory, your customer, like client care, like how are you sending proposals? What do they look like? We weren't just sending emails with prices. We wanted our proposals to be beautiful and integrated and really our brand. So I think every level of service has to be high. You have to have quality inventory and high level service. And then what do you have to offer that sets you apart?
So when you say high level service, how do you differentiate yourself?
I think our relationships we build with our agents, and I think everything from what our proposals to look like to how our contract is signed, our communication with them, how we enter houses, leave houses, like every step of the way, you want to make sure that it's seamless and we are taking work off of our agents' plates.
So do you convey that in your marketing?
I think we convey it in how they work with us.
Yeah, I think it's their experience of working with us, and that helps bring them back. It would be a good idea to do our marketing. It would.
We could probably do better.
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm serious, because that matters. Taking stuff off real estate agents' plates matters. I was in the real estate business for 27 years. That's huge. That's something that I used to especially tell my clients who are working with luxury agents, because they do so much. The luxury real estate agents, a lot of them, they're working with people sometimes that are famous, so confidentiality is important. They are doing the project management because that's the expectation of a luxury client. And so anything you can take off their plate is going to make you more desirable as well when you're marketing to agents. So yeah, I'm just saying, I say use it. All the stuff you just said, play it back and use it, girls.
I think, right, because you want that easy, seamless experience. You want to be easy to work with. And we have boundaries. I mean, we definitely have firm boundaries.
You should.
Everyone that we work with. But we want it to be an easy, seamless experience to work with us. We don't want it to be difficult.
Right. I think that's great. And even, I'm just going to elaborate a little bit for the listeners. One of the things I tell my clients is, like, some of them have said, well, should I do a package with a photographer? I'm like, yeah, because for some agents, that's going to have huge value. You're meeting the photographer, like, takes it off their plate, right? There's things that you can do that add value that some agents are going to say, wow, that's really awesome because that takes that completely off my plate. I don't have to worry about that. Obviously you charge for that,
Right.
but anything that you can do to make it, like setting up appointments with the client, saying to the agents, you don't have to be the middleman, right?
Yes.
Stuff like that means a lot because people don't realize they're constantly putting out fires, and anything that you could do to make it easier for them is good. So huge value. Amy.
So besides everything that Kristen said, she took a lot of good stuff. I would say to really study the other staging companies in your area and, really notice, like, what are they doing? Do they have a certain look, or does it look different in every stage? Are they high volume? Do they not seem high volume? Do they offer pre-listing consultations? Do they seem to only do vacant? Do they do occupied? Like, look at all of that and then figure out really what your niche could be that could set you apart. We, in the beginning, we did everything under the sun. And then we realized, we don't really want to do occupied homes in the sense of putting our inventory in those homes. It wasn't a big revenue stream for us, and we lost too much inventory. So we decided we're really going to focus on vacant homes. And so we went all in on our marketing with vacant homes. So finding that niche that can help set you apart in your marketing.
I think, and what brings you joy.
Yeah.
We liked doing the vacant, occupied.
Some people love it.
Some people love it. And I think we're coming back into it a little bit. And I think maybe we were burned out or we were too busy. So I think it felt like a big time suck to us because we were doing everything. But now that we have people who do things, not just us, we're coming back into it because there is great. You make huge transformations in occupied. I mean, the biggest transformations, I feel like, almost over vacant. But vacant was what brought us joy. And I think at the time, it really showed and helped really launch us forward because we were really happy. I mean, we're still very happy. I'm not happy in our job, but I think finding that joy.
And as a small business owner, we really had to step back and think about, why are we doing this? Like, why did we leave like a full-time job, a career that we were both in for like 20 years to start this business? Like, what do we want to get out of it? And we wanted a profitable, successful business, but not one that was running us for hundreds of hours a week and taking us away from our families.
And we want to be happy going to work.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is so huge. I mean, you spend so much time in your business or your work. It's so important that you're happy. It's so important. And those are really value bombs, all of those things about differentiating yourself and making intentional choices about creating a business that supports your best life. You guys have been So delightful and amazing. I have loved interviewing you guys.
This has been really fun.
Yeah, it has.
This episode of the Home Stagers and Designers on Fire podcast has ended. Be sure to subscribe for more strategies on how to attract your ideal clients, up-level your business, make more money, and still have a smokin' hot life. And don't forget to review this show so that we can continue to bring you top-notch content. See you on the next episode.